It's like when
we're on top of the PlayStation.
when the news is over and then the people are still going over their papers.
Yeah, but we are not. People actually can listen to us.
Okay, hello everyone.
No, wait.
Oh, sorry.
Now, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You pretend that everything is live because we are live.
Yes, we're live on the Blender Institute.
No, Animation Studio headquarters.
Animation Studio headquarters.
In Amsterdam. We are live. Blender.Today number 80. I didn't plan it, but it's 80.
That's my room number in the hotel here.
And it's also kind of the version number of Blender, right? Everything is okay with the audio, with everything, because we are streaming live today with a guest. And we're also streaming at a higher resolution than usual, at Quad HD. Let's see how it goes. We have the technicians here and the sysadmins at the studio now, so we can test how the streaming goes, how everything behaves.
I know they're fixing my computer now as we speak.
Fixing our computer. Yeah. I have a secondary graphics card only for encoding these videos. Imagine how much effort we put in it. And if you move, we have some spooky pumpkins because it's just
didn't plan
Halloween.
that I would be here. Sorry.
We are here pre-Blender conference. Not that you just came, well, you came only for Blender.Today, but also because there's this thingy happening on Thursday, starting on Thursday, but there will be people arriving even before. It's a Blender conference 2019, which takes place here in Amsterdam in the amazing location and the amazing
I've never been there.
schedule. No, I've never been there. I should say that it's amazing because it looks amazing. So there is already the full schedule. I think maybe a few minor events are missing from here, such as the Susan Awards or those things that we know happen, but the talks should be there. And I don't know if you noticed, but if you are logged in with your Blender ID, you don't need to make a new account. You just use your Blender ID. You can favorite talks, and soon, I think tomorrow, we're gonna add a filter here so you can filter your talks so you can see only the ones that you are following or like they are favorite. So I already have some favorites. I have the Daniel Beisted on Friday. I have Andy Goralczyk on Saturday, but actually all of them are pretty awesome. Like this one from Lek also must be amazing. I still haven't. Oh, the Gleb one. I want to see that.
The keynote.
The keynote from Tom. Yeah, but I mean that's you have to be there.
Did you put the Yama Yobarev's talk in your favorite?
Yes, it's gonna be the end of. I have Daniel, have Martinez Lara, add-on development panel. Oh, VR. I want to see that too. Oh, Francesco also has a talk. Well, at the end, I think I'm gonna end up with everything. Ian Ewart, the lazy tutorials genius and director of
Tears of Steel.
Tears of Steel, the famous film by the Blender Foundation, and it's also gonna be here talking for 30 minutes about the world building in Blender in a lazy way. I bet it's gonna be amazing. And yes, the list goes on. There is introduction to cycles. There is a Blender Hoy Spanish community that in Spanish is a meeting, a gathering. But the Blender.Today live, the next episode is gonna be live from the Blender conference, so it's gonna be pretty interesting. Oh, wow. The lightning talks are also amazing. The one from Ubisoft are also gonna see. It's
going to be hard to do the Blender.Today live because not a lot of developers are doing a lot of development this week because of the Blender conference.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to make it extra special. I'm going to talk about the new stuff in Blender. I'm going to talk about the future.
Oh.
I'm going to hype 2.83. No, okay, 2.82. And so many more. So please go hit check, and you can also see the list of speakers over here. This is the first year that we do something like this. It's pretty nice to see all the faces of people hanging out and being here at the presentations. You can see their talks. You can read more about the talks and multiple speakers also. So pretty exciting, eh? Susan Awards is still going? I think so. Wow. Yes. Go vote before it's too late. All right. Time to talk about what's new in Blender. This is from last week, actually. What happened with the next week? This week, developer.
You know that's misleading when you see Dalai there in the top.
Where?
Here.
Dalai Felinto.
Yeah.
Oh, because you had actually didn't didn't do that thing.
Yeah, it was Nathan, because we always do it. We finish the weekly report and you create an empty one for the upcoming week.
Yeah.
So if you look at the upcoming week in the meeting notes, that's actually this one shouldn't say upcoming anymore, but that aside.
Yes.
And then whoever finished the last report is preparing the report for the upcoming week, and then it's never the correct author.
Oh.
One day we'll fix that.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what's written there. That's what I'm trying to convey here.
All right, that's why we're here in Blender.Today Live, because I actually did my homework and I prepared this document where I have a bunch of fixes and not so much new stuff, but we're going to talk about another feature that is coming up, maybe as an experimental feature, is library overrides. So stay tuned for that. Sebastian is asking on the chat if this is live. Yes, this is very live. It's 5 p.m., although it's almost getting dark here in Amsterdam. But yeah, it's 5 p.m. It's early.
On October 20-something? 21st.
21st. Oh, yeah. We need a newspaper. So I believe us like in like the films. All right. So this week, there has been a lot of fixes in Blender 2.81, which is the upcoming release. We're also going to cover some features that are for 2.82. They're not so big features, but still they are new ones, so they can't be part of the 2.81 release. Am I correct?
You missed the show. No, you're correct. And you can just go over it. As we keep talking, since we were here all ready for the conference, we're also talking to the developers here and then making a few changes in the upcoming plans. So I was talking to Bastian. One of the things we're going to cover with the library overrides is, okay, what's the future of it? We know it's going to replace Proxy Animation, but in the near future, what are the deliverables? What's the MVP 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
So things are going to I expect this week and the next week to also help us to define some of those plans.
Exactly. So we need testing. Really.
Plenty of testing.
Plenty of testing that includes you people at home or at work or whatever you're watching this. So there is been a bunch of fixes. There is one fix by one guy that I know. It's a fix multi-object edit mode and local view collection. So what did you fix, Dalai?
We are a few, it's for the end user, it means before this fix, if you had a few viewports, right? And each viewport, and you had more than one collection in your file, okay, or no, just a single collection is fine to show. Oops. And if you go in one collection, in one viewport, we have a local view of only the monkey, for instance, only Suzanne.
Okay, so in the end panel collections, and I have my local collection and only have Suzanne here.
Yeah, okay.
So this is collection number 2. Yes.
Now, if you go to the other viewport, the one, and you select everything.
Oh, select everything.
Yeah, and then go to edit mesh mode. There you go. Now, if you go back to the other viewport.
Yes.
And now if you do, for instance, grab to move things around, press G.
Ah, like move things.
Now it's working correctly. Before, it would move even the other hidden objects.
Ah, it would move the other ones.
Yes.
Is that a bug or a feature?
A real bug, because...
Yeah, because you would be working here, selecting a bunch of stuff, and then bam, all these things.
Yeah. Yes. And it's in a way, it's a corner case, but it happens for local collections and for local view. But Bastian, he wanted to do some changes in the Blender code refactor to get rid of viewport as a parameter to a lot of visibility functions. Oh. And I said, please do not do it, because we have this bug which I never bothered to address because of really a real corner case. But if he would go, with his changes, and then it would be such a hassle to ever get this working as it is working now, predictably, nicely, beautifully.
Super nice. So thank you, Dalai. You're awesome. Wow, AJP is watching from China. It's 11:10 over there. Crazy. And Malcolm is testing on library overrides and reporting back. So thank you, Malcolm. Moving on. So shall we address some of the bugs, the bugs fixes first, and then move to 2.80?
Yeah, do your magic. I'm here just...
well, this is new for me. This is the first time that I have overlapping releases. Usually you just talk about one release and then the next one.
All right. And they had the non-live Blender.Today for past weeks as well. So I can try that together.
I did at home or in Madrid. It's different, yes. So let's see. This one is a fix that went into Blender 2.81. and it's background dithering. Actually, it's introduced to solve. It was introduced to solve banding issues on gradient backgrounds, and this patch disables it for final rendering, vertex, and texture paint modes. So it's an improvement on the viewport.
I'm curious though if you still get the banding back because of that. Of course, you know what dithering is, but do you mind explain me what dithering is, Pablo? The classic for the audience.
Obrigado, Dalai. So dithering, it's the problem was banding. So basically, in a gradient, you had a band of color. From gray to dark, you had big bands. So dithering, what it does is makes those into little dots overlapping, not overlapping, but makes the gradient a bit more uniform by making little dots with the same color. So instead of having big bands, you have the little dots. Did you like my artist?
I like it a lot, but that's how I see it as well. And of course, apparently there was a bug when you had this for the viewport background, and now I no longer have this when you're vertex painting and texture painting and all this. So maybe the banding are back, we don't know, but at least dithering is no longer getting on the way.
It should be fixed now. So I believe it. This is by Jeroen. I believe him. So Jeroen Bakker, the developer. So all right, more. Auto-Keyframe wasn't working on
you skipped one. You're not going to do this one here?
I'm trying to move because, here's the deal.
This was my fix as well, Pablo.
This is what?
Yeah.
Which one?
This one, the UI Remember ID filter.
Oh, this one is yours.
I thought it was, no, not this one. Not
Julian.
This one. It was something else.
I mean, if you want credit for that, we can give it to you.
It was last week that I did something there. I can show you once you go there. Don't worry. Okay. I can promote myself when the time is right. Carry on.
All right. So the auto-keyframe is now working. It was a bug that it wouldn't work with mirrored bones. So if you mirror the bones, auto-keyframe wasn't working anymore. Now it is. So I think that fix was by Sebastian, our own Sebastian over here. So thank you for that.
Which of them? Parbotic.
Oh yeah, we have two now. That's true. Yeah, Parborg. Yeah, Parborg, not
not Sebas. Sebas.
Cool. Optics. When optics, the new backend for, well, I don't have an RTX in this computer, but the new backend for rendering with NVIDIA RTX graphics card, optics, was running out of memory. When running out of memory, it wasn't having the same treat as CUDA, which when runs out of memory uses the system memory. Now it does. So go render everything you can on optics. I've been using it on my laptop. It is amazing.
Oh, for personal projects and
yeah.
That's
for,
cool.
for testing and just for using. It's a new thing, so
it gotta be interesting.
But actually, I can see some improvement, some speeds up. So pretty neat. Then another fix that was done is to the visualization of the voxel size on smoke domains. So if I do, for example, a quick smoke, this little thingy over here, do you know what it is?
It's no, not really. It's a domain. No, the domain is the whole thing.
The whole thing is the domain.
Right.
And this little square here is the size of the voxel.
Oh,
so
yeah. Now I got it.
So it's the size of the resolution of the domain. So if you change this resolution,
interesting way of displaying it.
What?
Well, because you're displaying it like in the corner and not overlaid on top of the whole simulation.
Yeah.
Which if you really are about to debug, you might want both. I don't know.
You may want. Okay, so
I think
that's
I would.
true. So you can change the size, and it now works properly with adaptive domain. It wouldn't work before with the adaptive domain. So.
Well, I think last time I played with smoke in Blender, there was no adaptive domain. So you had to create the cube, and that's a domain. Please do not go outside of it.
Yeah, okay, that's ancient. Okay, Grandpa,
Ancient.
let's move.
That's why I have my gray hair.
All right, moving on. How's everything in the chat? Everything is okay? What about OpenVDB files? OpenVDB is not there yet. The patch, you know what?
You know that Sebas promised, I think, over Twitter, that we're gonna have some of this as part of the MantaFlow support.
Oh, OpenVDB. He promised on Twitter, so it's true.
Which is, I meant to have a conversation with the team about, public channels and what we promise in their own. It's their personal channel. I don't care, but you should be very careful when promising things.
Promising fixes and features.
So you won't hear from me that we're gonna have necessarily OpenVDB, but we'll see. We're gonna have definitely some MantaFlow in the upcoming Blenders.
2.82.
Yeah. I'll see. I said upcoming Blenders, but hopefully 2.82. The problem is that Bastian was the one overseeing a review in the MantaFlow project and the patch, and he has the library overrides to take care of now. He has the undo optimization that he's working on, and then MantaFlow code review, and then on top of that, we wanted him to do the asset manager for 2.82. I can guarantee that he won't be able to do all of these.
No.
So we need to offload at least either the MantaFlow or something else for someone else.
All right, next fix. It actually came. I'd like to highlight this one. It's the when using nodes when importing materials, it will use the non-color profile for black and white texture inputs. There was some issue that was reported actually on Stack Overflow, like a question, like, am I doing something wrong, or this is supposed to work this way? So after some discussion, actually, this went into a bug report, and the bug report is now is not closed here, but actually I took it from the release log, so it should be fixed already.
Maybe it was only partially fixed.
Huh.
And if that's the case, we would mention it in the report, but we will not close the task.
Okay. So it's like partially fixed. Yes. All right. So it's partially awesome. Another fix, this one is actually pretty awesome because it's a bug that was reported time ago. And it's something like sounds minor. It's like assigning shortcuts to editor properties gives an error. This was reported on June 1st. So even before 2.80 was out, but it turned out it wasn't so simple. It was assigning shortcuts to some properties from the editors that were not available.
Did Campbell fix that?
After a lengthy discussion, and here you can see that these are merged tasks. So there are other bug reports that are related to this one, and they get merged into one. So you can see here that people have been reporting the same issue like for a while, and
stop teasing. I'll talk to Campbell this week about that.
And
there
here
we go.
Fixed
there
it.
we go.
Yeah, I only show fixed stuff.
No, I know, because this was assigned to Brecht, and Brecht's going to be on a leave for a few months. So I said, who can take care of that? And I was asking Campbell, but I was away for the previous days.
Yes.
And I'm glad he tackled it.
Yes.
Fantastic.
So thank you, Campbell. This actually this fix. So those things I like it because, it's community effort, everybody like contributing to this getting fixed. So I think we're pretty much there with the fixes. There is two big fixes in Grease Pencil. One of them is the performance with onion skinning. There were some big performance issues. So if you're animating and you notice that for some reason the latest Blender was being slow, now that is fixed. So go try it again. It's download the new 2.81 beta and try it out. The other fix was that onion skinning wasn't available when you had multiple windows. If you disable the overlays in one, it will disable it in the other one. Now it's fixed, so you can have one window with onion skinning and one without. So thank you, Antonio, for fixing it, and thank you to the Grease Pencil team for looking into those issues.
Can you at some point show the 2.81 milestone tag in the developer.blender.org?
So 2.81, this?
Yep. And then you go to workboard, and then look for undo. Oh, they won't find it there though.
The favorite.
Okay.
Here, undo is making one.
Yeah, but now if you can go to the 2.82, because someone was asking, what about the undo optimization?
Yeah.
And it's tagged as 2.82, I think. So it's also a really nice way for people to find out about those.
Here, oh wow! So you go to BF Blender workboard, and then you're gonna here. Actually, you can see, the backlog, and then you can see here.
So if you look for undo, there you're probably gonna see the task with.
And
let's see. Oh, there's so many undo ones.
There is it's a gazillion of undo, Undo. Okay, so maybe let's go only for 2.82. Workboard.
There's no workboard there yet. You can create an empty one if you want to go. You can create it. It's okay. Yeah, just do it. It's fine.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Okay.
I vouch for it. You have video proof that it wasn't your call.
I got the boss to tell me.
No, not the boss. Undo should be there somewhere.
So there is undo.
Okay, so I'm gonna put it there later.
Okay, so it's not assigned yet, but
those are
it's a task.
There's a patch already.
Oh.
Just first step towards fixing the problem. But so far, we only have in the 2.82 project, that's what I'm trying to convey here, the things that were supposed to be for the 2.81, and we didn't realize it was better to take the proper time to fix it, and we moved to 2.82. But now, as you said, we're mixing Beacon 1 with Beacon 3, like two developments of Blender with some overlap. We still need to go over the tasks that we're planning to do for 2.82.
Yeah.
We're going to doing those days, I believe, next week.
Amazing. So yes, undo fixes are coming. It's just too risky to do such a big change at this moment in the release cycle. But if you're using master, then it wouldn't be an issue. It's just for if people are using stable. And I think that's pretty much it with all the fixes. There is a tiny improvement that I think it made it to 2.81 is that now F that I didn't show last week is that now in the file browser you can press F2 to rename the selected object, file. So, and then there is this glitch on, I think Julian is aware of this one. If you escape, sometimes it disappears. Yeah, there. But it's just a glitch, a graphic glitch. So, okay, let's go to the juicy
topic.
Stuff. So, okay, for grease pencilers, you have a new tool for you to play. I'm gonna make use of my pen and my hand. There is a new tool.
We should have a second camera here just to see that.
Just to see how I move. It's nothing special. I'm not gonna make anything special here. So okay, I just want to show you that there is a new tool that doesn't have an icon yet because it's super new. That's why it's called polylines. So the polyline allows you, once you select it, it's like a model tool where you can click and then
you could use a mouse for that. You don't need a tablet for this.
I gotta show off. So no, but actually I changed, this is such an off topic, but I had the bigger Intuos and I now moved to a smaller Intuos that I found here in the studio because I want to use it as a mouse. I want to replace my mouse by using the pen as much as possible so the hand gets some
the other is too big. Is now a good time for me to announce that I'm selling my A2 Wacom at home? But carry on, next.
In Brazil, so there will be a bit of shipping involved. So all right. What else? Actually, I didn't add your Instagram. I usually add the social media.
But Instagram is I'm doing for more personal shenanigans. No filter, live.
Than shipping from Brazil. So all right, cool. Let's Heavy Poly. There you go. He is the one. Vogan, you know him? Heavy Poly?
No, I do not.
Oh, he's amazing.
You're amazing, Heavy Poly.
Yes. No, you probably know him on the Blender stuff. He made this awesome you like to paint.
I like to paint.
He made this awesome app using Godot. So he used the open source game engine Godot to paint this, and the results are awesome. It's very painterly and it's very minimal. So I really I enjoy it. I'm using it on Linux. It's also available.
That's so nice.
Now that you have Linux again.
I don't know yet. They're still working on it.
What? Okay.
The Godot is really cool. I talked to a lot of two of their developers the past days.
Yeah.
And Google's Summer of Code Summit,
you're
blah,
showing,
blah, 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 blah.
Your gear? Here.
My gear. Oh,
wow.
It's a zoom. So there was okay, here. So there was the Google Summer of Code Mentor Summit. So it's a way for the open source organizations to connect, to get together and all that. And there are at least each organization can set up to 2 developers. So there's some really nice people there from Godot. People
All-
using it professionally. All
From
those
Godot?
people. This only have, I mean, there are like 300 people in the whole event.
Wow.
People from Git, people from Linux, people from Python, from Blender, from Godot. It was really, really nice. Thank you, Google.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So Summer of Code, yeah, and this year 7 projects made it from Blender into the Google Summer of Code. One of them is already in, is the
2 of them are already in.
the outliner and the bevel. No.
No. The outliner and the nodes,
And the
texture nodes for cycles and AV.
Yes, the more generic nodes.
Yes.
Awesome. And the amazing outliner. Super awesome. Super awesome. All right. So
Where were we?
where what?
Where were we? We were showing the new
were we?
tools.
We
Where
were giving a
we?
shout out to Heavy Poly, and now we are talking about the new stuff in Blender, and also to your.
Thanks for following me, Pa.
I do follow. Sometimes I show people that I don't follow, but it's embarrassing. But now in this case, I do follow you.
Beautiful
What is
picture.
this? Where
I was camping and I was throwing mud at everyone in kind of an adventure race. And in the very end, they wanted me to take a go, right? And they just joined together and just
Awesome.
made my day.
This could be a meme. It's like jumping into 2.82 bucks. Like, all right, cool. Let's move on. So Grease Pencil primitive tool. This is what I was showing actually, that you can paint with. And then we got sidetracked with the pen, and then so Grease Pencil. This mainly this feature, but there are more features coming. They are working on a branch, on a separate branch. So they are working on polishing the tools in a separate branch in order to move them to master later.
Have you demoed the whole convert to curves from Grease Pencil? It's really handy. It
Convert
was
to
implemented
curves,
last
so the
week
fact
or
that
2
you
weeks
can-
ago. Yeah.
I did it, I think. You're telling me. So, yeah, I think I did. Where you can select and then convert.
You go to object mode and then the context button. Come on, let's be elegant.
There's a convert button.
No, the context menu.
You can
No
use,
one
I never
does
use the
F3. Come on.
Nobody uses the context. Well, maybe
yeah,
people.
there's-
Did you use the context menu? Give me a thumbs up. Context menu.
And then you can convert
I use
whatever
shortcuts. So convert to
Bezier curves, whatever.
Bezier curves. Beautiful. And I get an error.
And have no valid timing data.
Most timing options will be hidden.
But that was a warning,
It should be an info,
not an
a
error.
warning. Yes.
So it's probably converted. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
converted.
it's converted. So
And-
now I can actually do curve stuff. No, wait. Yeah, curve stuff.
No, it's
Why
not
do I have
converted. It's not
layers? No, I
converted. It's
have
not
layers.
converted. You're still in a Grease Pencil object.
Ah,
What is this line
here,
object?
lines. There you go. So this object. Here is it. Of course, but because it had many.
Because it won't have the materials
It
necessarily.
doesn't have the materials. It doesn't close it. So maybe the monkey is not the best example, but the monkey should be the best example actually. So some things to fix, and maybe the normals should be smaller, or maybe I have the scene size. No, I have the scene size properly. So
Anyway, just showing
interesting.
there's just saying that for 2.81, the features for Grease Pencil were finished already a long time ago. Now they're just addressing those small bugs and already moving to the 2.82 agenda.
Okay. Thank you for the news. All right.
Because I was talking to Antonio about that bug for converting.
Ah,
He was keeping the old object, but everything else in Blender would remove the object when converting. So I said, well, let's just comply to whatever Blender is doing.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's it should be similar-ish. So okay, more new features that I don't have exactly how to show them, but we can talk about them. Is about the Rigify. So Rigify, I can actually maybe just make this bigger and show the text so people can read along with us. So the Rigify improve the layer selection UI layout for narrow properties panel. So in the Rigify, in the properties panel, it's more responsive now. It works better if you have smaller size. Then implement optional custom pivot controls. Wow. Add an optional custom pivot between torso and the rest of the spine. Add a custom pivot. In Friends, Ross, in one episode, he goes, pivot. Pivot rig that can be used as a parent of the spine, and add an optional custom pivot under limb IK controls. Wow. Okay, this is pretty big for
a Monday, casual Monday on Blender, and then oh my god, now I have this.
Oh,
yes,
maybe
it
I
is.
get excited about no. This for me, this sounds like a big thing. Custom pivot between the torso and the rest of the spine, the parent of the spine, and the limb controls. Then Rigify also store advanced options in Armature instead of the window manager. Oh, this is nice because it means that that you can use that you can
link
Rigify.
And you can link the
and you can have multiple Rigify objects because the settings is in the Armature, so you duplicate the Armature, and the settings get duplicated instead of the window manager.
And they're no longer global. Yes.
Yeah. So well, actually, it's here. It's explained. Additionally, these options are stored in the blend file and not lost when reloading, unlike before. Pretty nice.
Yeah, maybe that's what I meant about linking, because the window manager is more a hack when you want any global settings from the add-on from Python, and if it's actually in the Armature and the ID data block, it's perfect.
So would you recommend to the add-on developers to not use or abuse the window manager?
It's a case-by-case basis. I use it a lot. I use it even, I store things even on BPY, which is the highest hack you can get there.
Wow.
Production code.
All right. Another feature from Rigify that was added this week is the support foot IK control bone pivoting around the ankle. Allow switching the foot IK control between pivoting around the base of the toe as before, around the ankle, or ankle with additional toe pivot. Also rewrite the foot roll mechanism to use correct Euler orders that match the actual bone hierarchy. Isn't that nice? Is it warm?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
so
and we have the door open even.
But the other one's closed, so now.
Yeah, there's no airflow.
It's hot here.
Okay, it's Blender is hot. That's why. And the last improvement, not related to Rigify itself, but to the Shrinkwrap Modifier. All these, by the way, improvements are by Alexander Gavrilov.
Gavrilov.
Yes. Oh. He is the savior of the animation.
I'd say animation model is a big contributor.
He's big. I mean,
he's given his time out of his own kindness, and I guess he uses Blender, I would expect.
Yes.
Because there's really good spot-on fixes. It's not just random. You know.
And the things are like Alexander Gavrilov. For me, it appeared out of nowhere like a few years ago. And is now he fixed for once the NLA, the non-linear editor in Blender 2.80. That was huge. Like now you can actually blend actions and the result is what you expect. That was a huge one. Plus a number of animation fixes. Rigify rewrote Rigify. Is now adding all these features. He worked on many modifiers also for constraints and modifiers regarding animation. So it's like and out of his own time.
Yeah, we do less outreach than I think we should.
Yes.
Again, on the summit, I was seeing so many communities really getting the contributors elsewhere. But luckily, for whatever reason, we still have those very reliable developers who come on board and just happen to find a home here, and they can all work together. It's fantastic.
It would be awesome. It would be awesome if we could come and hang out here.
But at some point, we even try to hire those contributors, and of course, then we run out of contributors. But a lot of them, they just have work, another day work, and they have another passion that they want to do.
Yeah, or like you have a family, and you can't just like, hey, I'm going to leave everything and go to Amsterdam.
Yeah. And it's all fine. I mean,
it's fine.
So it's about open source, about this opportunity for people to collaborate together.
Yeah.
So.
And the feature that I mentioned that is related to the Shrinkwrap Modifier is improve numerical stability of target normal project. Add a proper adjustment for scale in the solver epsilon computation. So better, more precision, I guess, right? Run at least one full iteration of the solver even if the initial state meets the epsilon requirement. Okay, this is very technical, so I understand everything that I'm saying here.
If things are better, more stable.
I like your.
No, but in the end, that's what matters.
That's what matters. Everything is better in the Shrinkwrap Modifier. More stable, more
faster, a better performance, multi-threaded. No.
All right. Why, Pablo Dalai, why is not working for Blender Foundation as a paid developer yet?
Home.
I think it's Alexander.
I don't know.
Oh, he has.
I'm pretty sure we contacted him already.
Pretty sure we tried to contact like since the development fund. We tried to contact pretty much everyone regarding that, and we managed to get some people. Pablo Dobarro is working full time. Sebas Mantaflow is working full time. You are full time.
Yes.
I'm full time.
I'm 4 days a week, technically.
4 days a week?
Yeah, I'm still working.
You work.
I'm still wrapping up a VR project in Brazil.
Okay. But you know, here
I do.
Some developers work 4 days a week, and that's how it should be.
And yeah, I actually look forward to finish this VR project so I can work 4 days a week. No.
4 days a week.
So I can have 1 day to balance out the workload.
I tried working 4 days a week once, and I ended up working anyway, but more relaxed at home. I mean, I'll keep working on the same things. I'm going to keep working Blender stuff or...
you need cooler hobbies, but carry on. Let's...
Hey, but my hobby could be, like fixing Amaranth or doing stuff.
Oh, very good.
All right. So I think that's it. We have 20 minutes. Let's try and demo the
oh boy. Whew, library override.
Let's do it quickly because then we have the questions with which I bet someone made a /bet here. Nice. 37 questions. Nice. Actually 38. So all right. So let's get to it. Not yet. Let's quickly demo library overrides to see what to expect and what not to expect.
So what are library overrides, Pablo? What do they plan to replace in the future?
In the future. So since many versions ago for...
You talk or you do the demo?
You do the demo?
No, I can talk then. You do the demo. For many years ago, there were some limitations of the proxy animation system in Blender. If you look at...
What is the proxy animation system in Blender?
Oh, it's whenever you have you have your rigged character in a file and you link to a different file and one in a different animation to play. So you can have a separation between the actions and what's happening in this scene for this character from the rig and the model mesh. So we call it proxy because we link the rig with the mesh in Blender and you create a proxy. It's how it's called in Blender. And just move and pose and animate this proxy, not the original file. It's very standard.
Okay,
but
continue.
There are limitations, as you know. You work at Sintel.
That's where I work on, yeah.
But if you look at the tutorials at Sintel, there's one that shows the classic workaround. So for a scene in the ziggurat, you had those flying birds, okay? And
yes.
Each of those flying birds, they're actually the exactly same object with the same rig, but each one needed to have a different animation. However, for years, even until now, Blender can only create one proxy per armature in a file. So how did you fix in Sintel? Do you remember?
We made multiple files for each character, and it also happened in Caminandes, in the latest.
For the penguins.
Yeah, in the latest Caminandes. Actually, I think I have Caminandes here. I don't know if this is the latest version. Ice. Yes, I have them. So in live characters, Pinguino, you have this is embarrassing. So in the scene in Caminandes, the last one with the eyes, you have 8 penguins passing by, and there were 8 blend files that are exactly the same, and they're even saved at the same time, except one that was saved later for some reason. And yeah, embarrassing.
And that was the official way for years to make that. So for 2.80, finally, we are trying to create a more robust system that can not only take the original file and have multiple instances with different animations in the same file. So in this example for the penguins, you'd have only one penguin and then each one can have its own animation. But also for something else. What if you want to replace, and that's also Sintel has this as one of their tutorials, I think. If you want for this scene to have a different material for this object, how do you do it if it's a linked object?
I use Python.
You use Python?
I use Python, and there is even a tutorial on the cloud that I did.
And it's fine because it's a workaround, and at least we have a workaround. And you're going to have a Python script, a very simple one with 2-3 lines with the registered option. So it runs every time you open this file. And that's the worst. If you want something that to be, if you want this to go with the character, that was even worse. You need to create a logic brick
Yes, with
Python controller.
and that was a big hack using the game engine. So this is my Blender that I was using in 2.63 when I was so proactive that I would change my splash, and I would I made this tutorial back in forever ago in 2012.
Oh, it's part of Venom Labs.
Yeah,
I told you a few times I love the Venom's Lab.
But this is Venom's Lab Mini. It's a mini series that I started online only, and I would basically just use Python lines to change the like set the subsurf modifier in a linked object. This hack is no longer needed. Am I right?
You're correct.
Yes.
For a subset of features in Blender. Okay. So why don't we demo how far there?
Let's demo. So I have this scene. It's an empty scene, and I have the character in a separate. I need to link it.
Why don't we link it and create a modifier in this scene?
Oh wow! All right.
So instead of
hold your horses.
Link the collection though, not the character.
Link. All right. So I'm gonna link. I'm gonna link the Suzanne library and the collection. I have the character.
Yeah.
So I can link, instance it. Yep.
Yeah,
and now I have this character that is actually.
And you want to save, of course.
Yes, okay, saving.
Now, if you go to the object menu over there and go to the relations.
Relations.
You can go to make library override.
All right. And?
You can choose, and you're going to change the property of the armature or the object. Let's say the object.
Works,
the object.
The object, okay.
So
I'm going to
bring
the object.
Okay. Now, if you go to the modifier panel,
yep.
You can go. You can see that there was a modifier to start with because the armature is a modifier.
Yeah.
But you can also go to add a modifier.
I can add a modifier.
And let's say the cast.
Or subsurf.
Yeah.
So I can even add subsurf.
But cast becomes a sphere. It's kind of cute.
Can because okay. So let's go for cute.
It's more.
All right. So this is, I can also be not cute.
And you can save and reopen the file, and this is going to be there.
So if I save this and let's start, blah, blah, blah. Let's open my file. Boom.
And there you go. It's still there. And you can do that for instance, the mesh that's assigned to this object. It seems a bit specific, but it's a way to make variations.
Oh.
So if you have a torus.
If I have a
torus mesh, just leave it, hide it. Yeah. And now if you go back to the monkey.
I can hide the object even. So it's like I never had it in my life. And now I can go to the mesh data, I guess.
And you can pick the other mesh, the torus.
Ooh.
And you couldn't do any of this because before, if you're linking an object in a collection, the only thing you could change was the armature pose.
Yeah, you could.
It was really limited.
Super nice.
So we're getting rid of it. So this allows, of course, you won't replace a monkey with a torus, but allows you, for instance, to do level of detail. So you can have variations of the same character.
With different levels of subsurf or anything.
You can have an object with a hat, and maybe which hat to use is built as a way to make a variation there.
And it's going to use the same. What happens if I now use if I make a proxy of something else, like the rig, would it work?
Save before. And I thought we were going to play safe in this demo, but carry on.
All right. Hey, I can't... So I have.
Oh no, this empty can be just deleted. You don't need it.
The empty can be deleted.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry.
So now I have this character that it's. Oh, look at this icon now. This is an override, right?
Yes, it means a library override because the chain means a library, and then it can
actually it already made a.
Yeah. Let's do something. Let's show something cool. Why don't we create another instance of the same collection?
Okay, we're playing with fire here, guys.
No. Okay. I tried this.
Let's collection instance of the.
And you see a bug, and it's important to tell that we are trying to iron out those bugs because now we cannot even tell which of the collections you want to instance.
Yeah.
And you want to instance this first, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the original one again.
And is the original one is still linked.
Yeah. Okay, now we go to the one you actually changed override and make sure the cast is more noticeable.
On this one.
Yeah.
And
it's affecting both because
I added the wrong.
You may, I think you have the wrong one. So now add the second one. There we go.
Holy crap!
And you cannot delete a modifier that was originally in the object, but you can disable it in the viewport and in the render. So that's effectively the same one. So if you want to, you can disable the armature
in this one.
In either, in the other one. In this one, won't do any effect because there's nothing.
But here, for example, I can add another pose.
Definitely, yeah.
All right.
So let's let's try
Armature. And yeah, because the pose is there, but now what?
And there we go. No, long are the days of the old hacks.
And this is all still linked. Let's open the library, and I'm gonna change the color here just so.
Make a Van Gogh out of this monkey.
A Van Gogh.
Yeah.
I can
chopping the ear.
Ha ha. Is that because you're in Holland that you do these kind of jokes, or you're also that funny?
I've been developing a very acute sense of humor.
Oh, poor Van Gogh. Van Gogh. What happens if I add another modifier here?
It's gonna work. No problems. Yeah.
Okay, so now I want to save. Now I'm just going experimental, guys, so don't worry. Oh,
and there
nice.
We go. And let's say for this one, you no longer want the wireframe.
Yeah.
So you go to the thing, and you won't be able to change. Try to change. To disable. Try to disable it. Oh, no, it's already linked. All right, you create an override. Did you create an override or was it automatic?
An override. Okay, no. So wow, so we have the same character. I didn't change the color, in fact, but I'm gonna do it like here. Let's make it red fire because this feature is on fire.
Yeah. And let's say you want to change the viewport display for this monkey.
Oh, but wait, this one is also missing the ear. Oh.
Yeah, because you changed.
I know. So it just feels bad, poor ear.
That's fine. Well, it's not fine. Let's not making jokes on that. I just want to show that not every single setting is exposed in the override. So let's say if you want to change the viewport display color for this one.
Yeah.
Where was it? Was on the...
It's in the mesh, I guess. The mesh also shows here, it says shift-click to create library override. What does it mean?
It's another way to do the same thing. It means for this mesh that you cannot change anything. If you create a library override, then you can just change it there.
So let's see, because materials are attached to the library, to the mesh. So if I do shift-click, I have an override, and maybe I can edit this thing.
Yes, and do it again.
I can do another override of this. Okay, if this works, I'm gonna...
Yep, there we go.
Oh my.
And not everything is working for...
You have even an icon here to something.
Yeah, if you click on it, if you click on the icon there...
the icon?
Yeah, it's... I think it's supposed to reset.
Interesting. Wait, I should need to save and see if it still works, because I can't believe my...
But just a small disclaimer.
It didn't save it.
We are... Yeah, that's what I was going to say. For material to work, you need to assign this for the object, not to mesh.
Okay. So I need to add to the object, and then I can make a new material if I want.
Yeah. And I'll try to save and open again. That should be fine.
I'll save, and this should open again because...
And it's not.
It's not.
So again, the material pipeline... Yeah, that's it's still very fragile. So I think for 2.81, what I would like for us to support quite well is the idea of the variations. So for an object to have different meshes, the idea for modifiers that works for bones as well, the same as we had with the old proxy system. So if you take a bone, you can have a bone constraint and bone modifier working, and to some extent a material, but you're gonna have to map out some small use cases and make sure they work well. Because, for instance, I was telling you to use the object menu to create the override. Remember? Try to.
Look at that.
There you go. I was going to say it.
Nice.
If you try to do it from the outliner, also, and might crash. If you try to make an override for the object and not the collection, at the moment is reported as a bug.
Okay.
So we're going to try to have those very simple cases really working for 2.81. And for 2.82, we make sure that material is more supported, that more settings are supported.
We need to warn these two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get to the questions because we have no lot of time, but let's try to address them. Hey, Pablo, can you tell more about BAM-BAT? Do you use it on animation production, or is just theoretical development? Well, it's not theoretical. We actually used it on pretty much everything.
It's part of, if Flamenco uses this under the hood.
Flamenco is using it. The render farm system that we use on Blender Cloud is using it. The project Spring used it in the past. Also, the Agent 327 used the previous version, but for example, here you will see the production files and the shot file selection. These shots are actually built with BAT, with the new with this new system. So what it does, you give it a pack command, BAT pack, and it will go to the blend file, find all the dependencies, and put them all together into one zip file. So you can search BAT Blender developer.
You know we have 37 questions, right?
Yes, sorry, but I just want to see it here. We need a replacement. That is a task where people can find out more. Okay, next. I'm not logged in. I'm gonna log in so I can.
You know which one you answered already.
Yeah. So I heart them also as a thanks. It's good. Everybody gets a heart. So okay, let's see here. So let's.
Why don't answer YouTube chat questions, Pablo?
YouTube chat. I'm answering what
people
I can.
Say they don't, but sometimes people answer themselves. It's even nicer. Thank you.
I was wondering about what exactly overrides do. Would it be possible to have an example of a node group tree that is contained inside a linked material? No, that is not. That's part of the part. That is
part 2 or 3 of the override project.
Yeah. With many sculpt branches features added, now what's the plan for the new sculpt mesh data? What's the outcome, Pablo, of coming to Blender Foundation? Will you guys work on his proposal of revamping? Or that's not an option?
We're still considering that, because some mesh data representation might be faster for sculpting or for displaying. So that's on the work. So he being here helps so much, definitely. Stop framing or void.
All right.
Void.
Thank you. Joseph asked, will we see similar revisions to the UV editor tools workflow as we saw on the 3D view modeling side for 2.80? It's one of the biggest complaints for people coming from other software. Remember back in the days, Blender used to have the best UV editor in...
I remember there was an UV edit mode.
Yes.
There's edit mode and a UV mode for the object.
But the editor, I don't know who is the maintainer of that area. I think there's no...
Well, there is Jeroen wanted to work a little bit on that, and Pablo's as part of the workflow for texture painting. Not UV necessarily, but the relation between images and the painting process and workflow.
Yeah, so hopefully Pablo, together with the painting tool system, he will work on it. But of course, it's a big part. You can't do CG without those tools, so they're gonna get improved. Penguin asks, still no sign about adding functionality of baking amino occlusion to vertex color data back in.
That became a big thing now again because of a lot of the work that Pablo Dubato is doing on the vertex painting pipeline.
Yeah, you can.
And now out of sudden, we want this back. I think we're probably gonna get it.
You know some baking, right?
I did for the cycles. But the problem is we only have baking for cycles, and this is the kind of thing that seems like a bit overkill to use cycles for that. So we need to cut it short. I think we can do it. We're probably going to do it.
All right, next. One of the most important features of any professional 3D package consists in a way to access the operations applied to the object during its construction. Okay, Blender supply with the modifiers, but there are some big limitations, in particular of that which the geometric output is not editable. So it's a long question.
They want CCG.
Yes, and this
CGG, CCC,
this should be part of the precision, not the precision modeling, sorry, the procedural modeling with everything nodes project.
Yes.
So yes, it's being worked on, not currently because the everything nodes is pretty big.
And it's focusing on particles and animation first.
Right now it's particles, but I mean that project touches all kinds of nodes. And the most generic nodes are going to be used for that. So yeah, it's coming. Any update on Animation 2020? I tried the face map add-ons, and of course still a prototype, but that's the right direction. There is no docs or info on how to set it up though.
Well, it's a bit of a hidden feature in Blender, but we now have a rigger.
So it's in the mesh data next to vertex color UV maps.
We have a rigger working full time for the Blender Animation Studio, Dimitri, and we're counting on him to help us on really nailing this pipeline. But there was some talk with William and Campbell in the past weeks. So,
and there is it keeps being talked on the the 2020, even though we are 2 months away from 2020, but we are 14 months away from the 2021. So. No, but character animation is it's top of the how do you call it, priority. Can we get the options to change the face orientation color? This is being asked every week.
Really?
I don't know if you watch this, but
No,
every week.
And it's probably trivial.
Forever.
I mean, it is trivial, of course.
It is trivial. It's just, yeah.
It didn't know it was something people wanted.
Oh, yeah, plenty.
I love this feature, though. It was
the face orientation, I think it's
one
amazing
of my
because it
babies.
allows you to see everything
I didn't
clear.
implement it, but
You did?
No, I did not. But I told Jeroen,
yeah, Jeroen,
you're a great developer. Can you do it this way? Yeah, I can do it.
Yeah. So we could black shading for back faces, like in 2.79, without face orientation overlay.
Honestly, I really like you run really high contrast colors because you don't want to do it all the time. Just every now and then you are inspecting files when you bring in FBX or whatever from the pipeline, and then you really want that to be in your face.
Yes. By the way, now that you said FBX, I forgot to mention one fix with Alembic. I've been using Alembic a lot in the last month when I was in Madrid. We were receiving Alembics from Maya, and they had some issues with the normals. So we fixed it together with Vaughan, Heavy Poly. We worked together there.
Oh, that's why we're.
That's why we are. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Now we've been best buddies for 1 month at working this project. So the workaround that he found was to have a weighted normals modifier on the mesh, and that has been fixed now apparently because Auto-Smooth now works on Alembic meshes without normals. All right, next. The Dragon. Hi, Pablo, love the show. Thank you. How to flip the name from the bottom to the top in the file save explorer. It's not up. I
don't think it's an option. Yeah.
No, it's not an option yet. There are proposals though for that to get to improve. Damian Winichenko. Hi, Pablo. I was pleased last time you said the idea was brilliant. Switch node. Thank you. Thank you. Some of the thoughts I ran through the source code looking for some things that could be improved with very little change. My investigation brought me to the conclusion that mirror modifier contains all the necessary code to turn it into a bisect modifier. We only need to throw away the necessary mirroring stuff and register as a new modifier. I could send my changes for code review, although I'm not a developer or a programmer.
I'm very confused.
What? I don't consider myself a developer, but
I've confused about that.
things in Blender. So I think this is in the right direction. That's how you become a developer, by...
No, I'm confused about the proposal itself.
Oh, it's a bisect modifier.
No, this I got it. But what's the relation between this and the mirror modifier beside the icon that's very similar? It seems like have a line cut in a diagonal.
You need a starting point, right? You need a like a middle
okay, you do,
point. Yeah. And then you have a... Yeah, you kind of, you're not a developer, more or less.
There's some
If you copy paste another node that does similar thing, it's you're already halfway there. So I think I think it's the right direction. Make a patch, make it nice, polished, and make a patch, remove all the unnecessary things, and yes, patch is welcome. 14, Arya Nurin asks, hello, Pablo. Hey, say hi to Dalai.
No, people are complaining that I keep roasting you and calling you out. But I'm just making fun. You're friends.
But there's
like to make fun. Yeah, all the time.
Oh.
It's like, are you calling your host? Because I was saying that Pablo you don't have enough time, or we don't.
No, that's we know each other for a long time. And we're both Latinos, Brazil, Argentina. So it makes it more of this roasting thing. All right. So I wanted to ask, is the shader to RGB feature coming to cycles, or is it just for Eevee? Not everyone has a GPU and can use Eevee, so it would be nice if it could be added to cycles. I wish.
Didn't we add that to cycles as well?
No, it's not. Unfortunately, not. You have other features.
It's part of the NPR discussion we had in the past.
Yeah, because it kind of breaks the NPR, the
realism and
the PBR. Yeah, so yep.
But you know what? Clemens is working in a blog post in code.blender.org about NPR rendering.
Oh,
to try to invite the community to the discussion.
yeah.
I'm saying that because I asked him 2 weeks ago, and Clement, you gotta do.
Clement.
See, I call out on everyone.
You
Such
think
an
he
ass.
watches?
I don't think
And
so.
I ask him, is he coming to the conference? Yeah, he's coming.
Yes,
of
definitely,
course,
definitely,
of course,
definitely,
he's
definitely.
coming. It's in Paris, next door. All right. Also, do you know if the Voxel remesh modifier is coming to 2.82?
No idea. I was having fun reading the comments.
We can ask Pablo Navarro. He's been working with Michael, I think.
Yes.
All right, next.
Sorry, I need to
question.
stop reading the chat.
Clave. No, read it. I also read it.
It's fun to.
And then, this should improve. Hi, it says. This should improve a lot the way we work with external assets.
He was probably talking about the library override.
Ah, yes.
So we caught up with the.
It would be really nice to see it in action to understand how it works. But if you had title, you'll show it. Would it be fully integrated in 2.82? Yeah, we already answered that. Mm-hmm. It's a work in progress and it will be added progressively. I'm giving a heart before even answering. Okay. 3D Cine TV asks, can material overrides be used on library overrides now on 2.81? No.
But yeah, that's the idea.
What we tried it. No. So 2.81 not, but 2.82 more likely. Tobias asks, Brest is going to take a leave for a few months. How will that affect Blender development?
It's a business as usual. It's going to be like 3 months. He's been working like so much for the 2.80 release. So he's taking some time off and then we're just going to take things from his desk. That's really all there is.
It's good to have a refresh and it's a holidays basically. Will there be any events at the Blender conference for non-attendees like the open house day? I
believe this year the open house day is for attendees only. It's what it says in the website.
The thing is that the Blender conference, there is over 500 tickets sold. 500. Wow. In this studio right now, we are like, what, 20? And it feels like a lot of people. Once we had 100 people here, and if we we get 500, we get half of the conference coming, that will already be 250 people or more. Imagine. So yeah, it will. No, I think it's only for attendees, unfortunately. So PK Go asks, hey Pablo, I reported a bug about performance. It's a different from other ones, but go close, so I suggest you to try this. If you have 2.80 alpha, all versions, I don't. Maybe can I say, in this case, sometimes you have to close on what you call false positives because there's so many bugs. So maybe just you can reply to the bug report, say, hey, the issue is still there. And someone should look over and maybe open again if it's still there. We can go over and explain. Just that as a general rule, sometimes we have to close more than we should because the alternative is also not to lose the hang of the bug tracker. Sorry about that. So basically he says that the creature demo works faster in alpha, 2.80 alpha, but alpha is so long ago that maybe it works fast because... The clay engine. Remember the clay engine? Yeah. No, maybe not the clay, but other... the clay wasn't in 2.80 alpha. It was? It was? I don't know if... Oh, no, the alpha is real. You mean alpha. The real official alpha, yeah. Because maybe now we're calling alpha... 2.82 is alpha-ish. Yeah, but I mean, alpha was after the Code Quest, or was this year? So anyway, please report, just poke again in that bug report saying, hey, the issue is still there. So, but the only real comparison is from 2.7 to 2.80 or 2.81. The thing is that 2.7 won't open this file because it has collections, and so 2.7 doesn't know. I can just recreate it. I don't know. All right. So, hey, I wanted to ask something regarding voxel remeasure, collapsing at small voxel size when using meshes with holes. It's a bug, got some answers, but we'd love to know if the solution could be insight. Well, it depends. By collapsing, mean a crash or just gives, I think it gives you an unpredictable result. He was expecting, or she was expecting something else. But if you have a hole in your mesh, I think the algorithm... To Pablo Navarro. Added a revision. So he added a revision already, a patch. So maybe it was right now, well, like 6:01. So yeah, it was actually 4 minutes ago. So well, oh my God, maybe he's watching us, and then he went to the questions before it was time for this moment. Are you watching, Pablo? Are you watching, Pablo? Are you watching us? Are you here already? He's coming for the Blender conference, by the way. I don't know. No. I don't know if you knew, but he is not only coming to the conference, but also talking at it, giving a workshop. Yes, a workshop on the new sculpting workflow in Blender by the man himself, Pablo Vazquez. So that's something I have it in my extra favorites. So yes. All right, so I think we are 6 minutes past the deadline. So let's do. How are you? Okay, you're okay.
I'm fine. I'm jet lagged, but that's okay.
5 more questions. Just to be nice to all these nice people that has been around, and maybe I can even manage to find. And where is it? Where is the question? Well.
The non-attendees.
Where did I?
This one. It stops here.
Well, but I didn't give a heart to these things.
That's okay.
Or maybe
they will leave.
Heart giving is broken.
They will leave.
All right. So, hey, I wanted to ask. Okay, this one already. Hola, Pablo, and Dalai from Brazil. So,
hey, Boris Wilson.
Do you want to ask you?
Yes. So this is I was wondering, what the heck is Animation 2020? Recently, I heard about this Animation 2020 thing, but I searched, found nothing effectively, no videos. There's one link in the community, blah, blah, blah. It means implementing papers from Disney. I'm so confused. Help me. So is there any plans to make a project to improve the animation system or something like that?
This is it. Is Animation 2020. It's, Ton likes to give names to projects as soon as they thinks about it, because that's how you start a project, right? You can't just talk about it. So I gave it a name, Animation 2020, and also a deadline, so it happens. And basically, so far has been about gathering feedback from people from studios, from with experience in the industry, from people upstairs, from people all around, just talking, basically. Not a big call yet, because still the targets need to be defined, but it's improving everything regarding from library overrides, so you can have multiple characters, better, faster playback of rigs, improvements in the animation editors, timeline, dope sheet.
I would say even asset manager is part of this.
Asset manager is part of it. So basically, it's the whole workflow of working with linked meshes, the linked characters. So light groups, when?
I just keep coming back. I think we have a patch for that.
Yes. Have you played with it?
No, I have not.
It's amazing. It's in graphical. It's on Windows only. I think I only seen that one, but luckily I was on Windows when I was testing it, and it's amazing. So you should search for it.
We have some of those. Actually, that's something I did not brought that. Bracket might still working a few cycles things in the upcoming month, so.
It's awesome. If you haven't tried it already and you are on Windows, you can try here the build, which is awesome. You basically have in the render layer, view layer. Can we call on the render layer again? There is a list where you can set a new like a pass with a name and assign the collection that is gonna have the lamps to light that pass.
Why don't you like the view layer name, Pablo?
Because I keep calling them render layer, and when you add one in the compositor, it's called render layer.
Because they're old. But when you're controlling what you see in your viewport for your work, they're view layers.
But when you come from a software, they call render layers.
But they don't do the kind of viewport control we do in Blender. They might. I mean, it's a good point.
We can talk about it.
You can, and then we can change to render layer if you change it back to material mode to look dev mode. How about that?
Yeah, it wasn't I kind of like the look dev word.
So do I.
Hi, Pablo. Right now, so this is 2, 3. This is question number 3. Hi, Pablo. Right now, when a mesh has non-linear modifiers other than armatures, the sculpting tool won't work properly. The user has to create a duplicate for editing, do the sculpting, and add as corrective post shape.
I love how there's actually a workaround, convoluted, but bravo for that.
To extract the corrective and plug it back into the shape keys. Since with the new Armature modifiers, the sculpting works just fine. I was wondering if you guys are planning to make it work with the other modifiers. Cheers and thank you for being awesome.
I guess yes. Because there's a lot of development for 2.81 for sculpting. We couldn't get everything in there. So we even multi-res and sculpting are still being tackled. I think Sega was about to finish fixing it. And what we had before is the so-called crazy space, where basically you could do whatever with all the modifiers in the edit mode and things would be converted back. It's one of the highlights of Blender. If actually that's one of the reasons Yam Ibarrev switched it to Blender. Because he needed to rig the Jurassic Park main dinosaur, the first one, and he just couldn't do that. These kind of things in Maya. So we're planning to bring back as much as we can in the spirit of this pipeline. So for sculpting, you should be able to see the final modifier soon.
Thank you. Well, Animation 2020 we talked about in depth at the Blender conference. We don't know. There is no talk, but we can. Oh, by the way, there is a Ask Me Anything session in the. Here.
Ask you anything?
Ask us anything. Ask you. Ask developers
anything.
Anything. It's not here yet, but I have it somewhere here. Actually, I don't know if I can. Yeah, I can show this. It's the this is the thing that is gonna be printed with all the talks, you know, the papers. So at some point we have the Ask Anything. Oh, that's actually here in this one. I made this with Inkscape.
What is this image in the background?
The image in the background, it's made by...
By you? No, that's Blender.
No. It's made by you. By Sam, here upstairs, and Andy. So Sam did the modeling and he did the rest.
So good.
And the shading and stuff. So the Ask Me Anything is at 5 o'clock on Saturday, on the last day. So pretty neat.
Is there anything else happening at the same time as this talk?
No, I think so. No, it's the last one. So it's the last day. So 5 o'clock, everybody to the theater. Before there is a Ubisoft and then a whole bunch of talks. There are a few that overlap that you see, like for example, I have the Blender.Today and at the same time there is a speed sculpting by Julian Kasper.
Is it going to be recorded though? At least, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, they're going to be recorded, but only the main one is going to be streamed because we can't, it's just too much. We can't afford the
bandwidth.
Everything. No, not the bandwidth, but like you have to have a person that does all the thing, the editing and putting it online and stuff. Next.
Fifth? Fourth?
Second. Because we already third. Okay, fourth. We go up.
Second.
Hey Pablo, I have a small doubt regarding multi-view sculpting. I noticed edit mode has live update and sculpt mode doesn't. Will live update stroke be possible or is that too performance heavy?
What do you mean by multi-view?
Well, you have two views and you edit in one edit mode, it updates automatically. But in sculpt mode, you have to wait for the stroke to finish for it to update. I think that's performance.
It's like Grease Pencil. We used to have the same problem with Grease Pencil.
Yeah, I think it's a performance thing because if during the stroke you also have to update the views and the mesh, it's just too intensive. Another question, there, Pablo. When Cell Factory works with Blender 2.8 with full performance, and when fixed the dynamic paint works in 2.8. Dynamic paint weight is a thing that it's missing. It's an overlay that is missing that we have an idea of how to implement it. We talked with Brecht and with Jeroen, but it will take time. It's not for 2.81. Basically, the idea is to have a way to have any kind of dynamic overlay on top. So not only for the dynamic paint, but for anything.
Generic data. Yeah.
Generic data. You just choose what to show.
And self-fracture, I guess, the old fracture modifier?
The old fracture modifier, the fracture, I think.
Branch even, I don't...
Yeah, even. I'm not actually familiar with it.
When at this one, I don't know. I have no idea because it was never a simple task to bring the old patch with the latest Blender.
All right. I think we answer all, the ones. Do you have any? You didn't just asking because
the OpenXR one is a good one to ask.
Well, the initial OpenXR. Is there any news on the future VR? Oh, by the way, yeah, there is a talk.
Yeah, that's the
answer. So if you want to know about more about VR, I recommend you checking the Spotlight talk on Friday by Julian. I saw one of the developers there, so you can find out more in this comment. So maybe I can even do this.
Oh, that's so nice.
And Udim support. You know anything because this question comes up every week.
The thing about Odin is that it's not so hard to support it, and we have an ongoing patch to support it for rendering, or maybe the material node 3. But if you want to really integrate this in the whole texture painting pipeline, then we kind of have to prioritize the one first to support a nice brush engine. Let's put it differently. Let's say we now have Odin, and I know Pablo Vazquez was bringing that up. It's like, why are you gonna have Odin if you don't even have a really robust brush engine or nice multi-layer drawing and really performance efficient drawing and sculpting and texture painting pipeline? So we have our site on Odin. Maybe it should just accept that we're gonna support first for materials, but not for painting. But the more things we add in Blender, it's gonna get harder to really get, for instance, texture painting nice, and then build Odin on top of that. So that's kind of where I stand. So it might happen for cycles before, but not for the whole thing.
Not for Workbench or
not. See, that is a different problem. Same as for OpenVDB. We might have a new volumetric type, but that's a bigger way to tackle the problem, or just as a hack for the rendering in cycles only. So it's how to draw the line.
Or to draw the line. All right, I think we are. Hey, how come I'm not looking at the chat today? So maybe I am. I'm looking at you.
I just missed a few things.
So a few questions. So I'm actually looking at the chat. I'm also trying to try to interact.
It's a special day.
It's a special day. It's a Blender Conference 2019.
Pre-Blender.Today day live stream.
Oh yes, I still have to prepare my talk for Blender.Today live.
Oh,
like for real live, and it's weird because here I don't know. It feels like at home. I'm just.
But if you're doing it live, are you still gonna do the Monday Blender.Today?
I will have to. It's my job.
Why don't
you? No. When is Monday? Because I'm actually going to Animago, and I will skip.
Yeah, maybe you can just put the video, to play of whatever recorded in the Blender conference.
Yeah, because actually there won't be anything new to talk about the next Monday, and maybe I can work.
Unless you do a whole Blender conference report on Blender.Today.
Yes. Are you gonna be here?
Yes, on Monday. Yes.
At 5 o'clock?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so would you
take over for one day?
Yes.
We could talk about that.
Can I go to the beach? No.
That'd be fun. Could try it. Let's see if it works. Not a bad idea.
No, but actually on what is it? Oh, I clicked on something.
Is the Animago website?
I was clicking on the celebration icon, but the thing I wanted to mention is that this week, the coming week, we can do that, but the week after, on the 4th, I'm gonna be at the Animago conference in Munich, so I'm not gonna be able to
provide this high quality service
that I call Blender.Today. So but I'm gonna be hanging out. So if there's anybody around in Munich and at Animago, I will be hanging out there. I'm gonna be talking about Blender 2.8. Blender 2.8 basically. So I think I'm not in the program yet, or I am in the program somewhere here. Blender track. Pablo Vazquez here. There you go. So I am in the program, and it's here. So it's at 12 p.m. It's a 45-minute. Which is gonna make a half an hour talk and then Q&A. It's on Tuesday, 5th of November, and I call it the 2.8 Revolution.
Oh, it's nice because also Eevee is evolution. It's pretty cool.
Oh wow! Yes. So no, I actually did it because it's an evolution of 2.8. I'm gonna talk about 2.80, 2.81, and 2.82. And beyond, and it's a revolution for the industry. But now evolution, it's so many meanings. Now I have an image to use. All right, so yes, but this is in 2 weeks, so no need to talk about it now. We need to
wrap it up.
Yes. It's been a pleasure to have you all here, and to what?
No, the pleasure is mine.
I didn't let you talk, sorry.
No, it's all good.
I had a great time, actually. It went a bit longer. It's 1 hour 20. I think we were recording this thing. Sorry about that, people, that you're watching this at home. or at work, or I will make it call it a day. Last week I ran out of I didn't have sound, so I had to hum the egg pick music, but this week I think I have it. So in 5, 4, 3, this is like my warning so people can get there. Grab the headphones if they're not using them, or take them off. It lower the volume in case they are not using them, because in 3, 2, 1.
Do they still hear us?
Yeah, they can hear us. But
is the
lower.
camera okay?
So I usually lower this when I have the message to say. Thank you, everybody. It's been a fantastic week. Thank you, Dalai.
Thank you, Pablo, for the invitation.
Follow
Thanks,
Dalai
everyone.
at Felinto.
Yeah, it's where my work stuff's mostly on Twitter. So
Awesome. And I'll see you again on Thursday this week. Sometime, someplace. Check out conference.blender.org. Ciao.